Hello, everyone. How is everyone doing this evening, this Monday evening? Setting my camera. Today, we have three different guests that are going to join us. We are talking about podcasts and nanny blogs. And all three of these are for nannies and by nannies. And they have three different perspectives. So we're going to get started. Hi, Sue. Let me say hello to everyone. Hi, Betty and Janice. And who else came in? And Sue came in. And Jessica and Anita. Hello to everyone. So we're going to get started first with our blog, Miss Jessica. Let me see if I can get her on here. She has a different perspective with her blog, and I am going to talk to her about what goes on in Mananigans. Hello.
Hello. Hi.
How are you?
How are you? Good. How are you?
Good.
Good.
I keep hearing an
I keep
echo.
hearing an echo. Oh, is there an echo?
Do you have it on
Do
speaker?
you have it on speaker? Oh, I do. I have headphones here, though. Is that better? Is that better?
Okay.
Okay.
I still hear an echo.
Still hear an echo.
It's okay.
It's okay.
So
So,
tell us
tell us
about
about
you outside
you
of the net
outside of
world.
the net world. So outside of the nanny world, I am a mom, and I like to go outside a lot and just I don't know. I Part of what I'm going to say today is there's not a whole lot of work-life balance in my life anymore because the two have sort of become one. But just sort of spending time with family and friends, and I like hiking and yoga and that kind of thing.
Okay.
Okay.
Now tell us
Now tell
about
us about
Mananigans.
Mananigans. So I started Mananigans because I was a nanny for over 10 years, and I really thought that I knew it all, and just I worked overnights and went on vacations with people, and just felt like I had done so much that becoming a parent would be just no problem at all for me. And in the end, it was just a very big shift, and in a good way in a lot of ways. But there was just it was a much different shift in emotions and just the way that I viewed a lot of things that I felt really strongly about as a nanny. And I know that there's a lot of nannies that will become moms one day, and some that have considered bringing their child to work, which is what I ultimately decided to do. And so I wanted to just share my experience from becoming a mom and then a nanny mom, and so that's where the blog started.
Okay.
Okay.
So what is it
So what is
your
it
blog about?
your blog about? It's so far just my background. It's very new. I just posted it probably 3 or 4 weeks ago. But my goal is to sort of link nannies and moms, and just give the perspective from both sides. There was a lot of things that I sort of couldn't believe that moms were doing, and like with sleep training and just things where I would research, and then becoming a mom, just sort of seeing how actually making those choices for your child is very different. I want to give that perspective on both sides, and I've joined a lot of mom groups, and I see that there's a lot of misconceptions about nannies, and just like things that nannies need that aren't seen that way, and I want to create more empathy and cooperation between parents and caregivers. And Part of it will be just sort of becoming a nanny mom, finding a job, um, the issues that I've seen come up, how it can be sort of emotionally draining, but so rewarding at the same time. Um, It'll be a lot of what I do day to day with the kids, activities, and then things that come up, just like working together with other moms, making sure that your values coordinate, and that kind of thing. So,
Okay.
Okay.
So are you planning
So
on
are you
taking
planning
your
on
child to
taking your
school with
child to
you?
school with you?
Not to school. I'm
Not to
sorry.
school.
To
I'm sorry.
work.
To work.
I
So
do
I've been in
actually.
school
I've
all
been in
day.
school all day.
He's 2 years old, and I've been taking him to work with me since he was 6 weeks old. And I care for a little girl who's like 2 months older than him,
Oh.
and now her new baby sister who's about 6 months old.
Aw.
Yeah,
So one big
So
happy
one big
family.
happy family.
yeah,
Good, good.
Good, good.
So are you being
So
an
are you being an
advocate
advocate
for the
for
nannies
the
with the
nannies with
moms
the moms
and trying to
and
help
trying to help
the moms
the moms
understand the
understand
nannies?
the nannies?
yes. I definitely am an advocate for nannies, and also I feel on the other side where I just felt as a nanny I just felt a certain way about things, and just sort of sharing it from the perspective of someone that was a nanny, just helping nannies see a mom's perspective a little more. Like, how could how could you hold your child to fall asleep? That was always crazy to me. And now that I have one, and it's just you don't want to give those snuggles up. And so it's especially if you work all week and then you have the weekends. And I just remember being a nanny and like, gosh, they want her to sleep in the crib, but then she said she held her all weekend for naps and stuff, so now she's not going in her crib, and just sort of presenting that side to nannies, but then also sharing with moms that this is a job and a source of income, and there's a reason that nannies need paid vacations and paid time off and sick leave and that kind of thing. So just an advocate for both sides, just trying to create empathy on both sides of and just better relationships that we can model for our children.
Okay.
Okay.
So when you are
So
in the
when you are
mom
in the mom
communities,
communities,
do you
do
actually
you actually
mention things
mention
about being
things about being
a nanny?
a nanny?
I do, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
And how
And how
understanding are the
understanding are
moms?
the moms?
I definitely, when you share it as a mom who's been a nanny, I feel like they receive it a lot more, and that you can sort of say things, and they're like, oh, I never thought of it that way, and so it's kind of cool to be sort of in on both sides,
Okay.
or not that there's sides. That's exactly what I'm trying to sort of get rid of, but.
Well, it's good
Well,
seeing
it's
it
good seeing
from
it from
the mom
the
side
mom side
and from
and from the
nanny side.
nanny side.
I keep hearing the echo
I
in my
keep hearing the
ear.
echo in my
So I'm
ear.
trying to
So I'm trying to
concentrate and
concentrate
talk
and
without hearing
talk without
myself
hearing myself
in the
in the
background. That's
background.
why I keep
That's why I
stumbling
keep stumbling
because every
because
word I'm
every word
saying
I'm
is
saying
echoing in
is
my ear.
echoing in my ear.
So
So
when you
when
became a
you
mom,
became a mom,
did you find
did you
yourself
find
doing
yourself
things
doing things
that other moms
that
are
other moms
doing
are
instead
doing
of doing it the
instead of
nanny
doing it the
way?
nanny way?
Yes, definitely. That was sort of the first eye opener for me, where I just I was never gonna co-sleep. I was never going, and my list of nevers basically got much shorter and shorter the longer I was a mom. I still know all the reasons behind everything, and it's not that I think that those things are wrong now. It's just doing it as a mom is a lot harder than I imagined, and so that was an interesting shift for me that people
Okay.
seem to find.
Okay.
So do you still
So do you
treat
still
your
treat
nanny
your
kids the
nanny
same
kids the
way
same way
now that you have
now
become a
that you have
mom?
become a mom?
Yes, I worried about that because, well, I always thought that I loved nanny kids like I would love my own child, and then you meet your own child, and it's a whole different ball game. It's sort of a love you never knew that you had, but then it's almost like your capacity to grow, or your capacity to love grows also. And so the kids that I nanny now, they're just like family with me. The My son thinks that they're his sisters, and their grandparents are his grandparents and everything. So it's just been a really cool shift and just a growing family.
Well, that's good.
Well, that's good.
So
So
when you write your
when you
blog,
write your blog,
is it
is it
differentiated
differentiated
as to
as
this
to
is the mom
this is
side
the
of the
mom
blog
side of the
and
blog
this is the
and
nanny
this is the
side,
nanny side,
or is it all in there
or is it
together?
all in there together?
It's all sort of in there together. There will be some posts where it'll definitely be more geared towards moms and some that are more geared towards nannies. But for the most part, I feel like nannies and moms can relate to both because the day to day is very similar. I will talk about things like avoiding burnout, which I'll speak to nannies and moms a little differently, but it's the same type of thing when you're dealing with kid burnout, sort of ways to avoid it, what to do, and but I want to I hope that moms, nannies, and anyone who's wanted to be either can relate to most of my posts.
Okay.
Okay.
So are you
So
offering
are you
advice?
offering advice?
Um, Sort of through my experiences, I I I guess some things might be advice, um, but mostly it's sort of going to be like anecdotal and um, just through my journey, I hope people can learn their own lessons, not necessarily like you should do this, you should do that, but here's what I did, here's how it worked for me, here's some problems that I saw along the way, and so on.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
thank you so much
thank
for
you so
joining
much for
us
joining us
and telling us
and
about your
telling us
blog.
about your blog.
Thank you so
And we
much for
wish you
having
much
And we
me.
wish you
success.
Sorry
much
for the echo.
success.
And
And
if you're watching,
if you're watching,
please go
please
to
go to
what's your web address?
what's your web address?
My nannygans.
Mananigans.
Mananigans.
Mananigans.com?
Mananigans.com?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
.blogspot.com. I'll put it on the comments.
Okay. Please
Okay.
do.
Please do.
So let's
So
support our
let's
fellow
support our
nannies
fellow nannies
and
and
subscribe because I
subscribe
know many of
because
us
I
are
know many of
mothers
us are mothers
and we can relate.
and we can relate.
I know I can.
I know I can.
I did a lot of
I did a
things
lot of
as a
things
mom
as a
that I
mom
wouldn't do as
that
a
I wouldn't
nanny.
do as a nanny.
So, yes,
So,
I can
yes,
relate.
I can relate.
I know exactly where
I
you're
know
coming
exactly where
from.
you're coming from.
So, again,
So,
thank
again,
you
thank you
for joining
Thank you
us.
so
for
much.
joining us.
And hopefully I can
And
get this
hopefully I
echo
can
out
get
of
this
my ear.
echo out of my ear.
I'm sorry. Oh my
I
gosh.
know I sound
I know I
crazy.
sound crazy.
You did great.
Okay.
I hope it's not
Okay.
my phone. My phone had trouble last time too. I don't know what.
I don't know what's going
I don't know
on,
what's going on,
but it's
but it's
coming back at me.
coming back at me.
Feedback.
Feedback.
And you don't
And
get to do
you
that
don't get to do
live.
that live.
Anyway, thank
Anyway,
you so
thank you
much.
so much.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Alrighty, you too.
Alrighty, you too.
All right. So, okay. No feedback now. Okay. I don't know what it was. Now we're going to move on to Miss Sue Downey. Let me see if I can bring Sue on. There she is. And bring Sue on. She does the perfect. Hi! You got here too quick. I was just about to say something. You got here too quick.
Sorry, go ahead and say it. I'll close my
Okay. I was just going to say that you and Laura do the practically perfect podcast. Say that 10 times fast.
It's not easy.
Yes. So tell us, how did you and Laura, I know you all are friends, but how did you come about starting the podcast?
Okay, so really, it's so simple. I would, at the time, Laura and I were doing lots of projects together, and I would call her on my drive home from work. And that was when she was awake and I was awake, and we would talk about things. And all of a sudden, one day, I was like, these conversations are really interesting. We should record them and do something with them, because we would have these like huge discussions about what was going on sort of in the nanny world, and our thoughts about it, and we found as more and more people we talked to, it wasn't just us thinking those things, but at that time, this was 4 or 5 years ago, there weren't any other podcasts for nannies that we could find. There was a small one for a while out of North Carolina, but um, there wasn't anything sort of structured. And so we thought, well, we'll try it and see what happens. And the response was really great, and it's been fun. We started out sort of trying to talk about things that um, you know, our opinions about things, the good and the bad and the ugly, sort of things that people might not say like online or whatever. We were trying to sort of be edgy. Um, and so we had early like and I mean the nice thing about podcasting is that you know it's kind of like radio kind of, because you can just sort of say anything, and it's sort of short lived. Like they do last, but not very many people go back and listen to them over and over. And we sort of just could like talk, and so my favorite podcasts to listen to always were podcasts where you felt like you got to know the people, and that it was um, like being with a friend. And so this was our way of sort of reaching out with all of our nanny friends and having conversations about things. Like some of our early ones were about reality shows that were on at the time. There was one called Beverly Hills Nannies, and how ridiculous it was in comparison to what our lives
I
looked
missed
like as
that.
nannies.
I don't remember
Oh
that.
yeah, that was
I
that
love
was one
that.
of our. It was a long time ago, but it was good. And we did a nice conversation about why so many nannies struggle with weight issues, because that's something that there's a high percentage of nannies that have that issue, as opposed to maybe other professions. And we talked about um, I don't know, just anything. That we did an episode about Downton Abbey and the whole idea of servant versus a professional, and those kinds of things. Now the podcast has evolved because we sort of ran out of things to talk about, and people started asking us for more content of the kind of things that Laura and I both teach. So like this summer we did a whole thing about our opinions about interviewing for jobs, and we gave information but also some examples. We disagree with each other on a lot of things, um, and we try to throw in fun ones. Some of our most popular ones have been um, what to give your bosses for Christmas. Like, it's so hard to buy Christmas gifts for somebody who can
Yeah.
literally, they know exactly how much you make because they give it to you. It's a very awkward thing. And they can like buy and
Yes.
sell you over and over if they wanted to. Not that they would, but so, some of those topics that are not necessarily some things that people would talk about all the time. So um, that's why we started, and it really has grown. Like, I don't know how many downloads we have now, but we do have quite a few. And our biggest problem is always finding time to get the content out regularly. Like when we're busy, like right now, I'm real super busy because of the Nanny Paloozas, and so we haven't posted anything in a while. But it's fun. We like doing it.
Well, I can personally say I listened to one where you all were talking about the pros and the cons of being paid on the books and not being paid on the books and arguments, and I was like, yeah, that's right. Not wait, well, so I was on both sides. I was like, I can relate to both of them, and it was like you
Exactly.
all were playing good cop, bad cop, and I was like, yes.
Well,
So I like
that's the
those.
whole that's the whole thing of it, is that we try to think of things that aren't just cut and dried. Like, there are two sides to almost any argument you can make, and there's a way of looking at things that we sometimes forget when we're talking about best practices or whatever. So it's good to sort of have the argument, and it's good because Laura and I, people a lot of times, because we do a lot of things together, think that we are one sort of voice, but we're really different and have very different opinions about things. So um, where at the end we often have a consensus. Getting there, we have two different ways of looking at it, and so we try to think of things that's more interesting, right? Like, sometimes the way to find your own opinion about something is to argue about it. So that's good
Right.
because,
Right.
it helps people figure it out. So we've talked about a lot of things, and a lot of people don't agree with us, which I love. I think that's fantastic. It's much better if we make you think, and if you disagree with us, I think in the long run, that's what we look for. So
Well, I'm glad that you are there, that there are podcasts, because I listen, I read a lot. I do audiobooks a lot. And I try to read some because of my eye injury and because of my nighttime job. When I don't get enough sleep, I'm not going to read. I will listen
no.
all day long, and that's a good thing, because when you're it's a good thing that you have the podcast, because we can go back, especially the NCSs. We can, instead of shopping on Amazon all night long, we can, we can actually listen to podcasts. And I listen to audiobooks, but I have you and Laura I listen to get my nanny fix. And then I have several that I listen to that inspire me spiritually, and then several that I listen to that inspire me business wise. So I have several different podcasts that I will listen to. And especially when I'm going through something, I'm like, okay, so I need this particular podcast. Let me look at the subjects and see what I need to listen to. And it usually helps me, because sometimes nannies live this secluded life, and we don't get to communicate with each other. Some things you just don't want to put out there online, because you know it's going to come back and bite you in the butt. But if
Right.
somebody else says it and somebody else tells you about it, okay, there you go, confirmation, I can do this. So you and Laura kind of give me that confirmation of, yeah, just go ahead and do it. So
We, well, that's, and I mean, I think that's part of it. Like, social media is always bad and good. Like, there's good stuff and bad stuff, and it's made us able to connect. But you still do have to be careful on social media about what
right,
you say. So I think with the podcast, Laura and I can say, like, we're pretty established. Laura's not even nannying anymore. And I'm pretty established, and I can defend whatever I might say without any
right,
problem. So having somebody say things that maybe not other people can't give voice to can be reassuring sometimes. And we try to give information and our, at least our opinions of what best practices and information can be. We're not as good as Martha. I know she's going to be on later, and she's amazing at giving you a lot of content that is really can improve your practice of taking care of kids. And we don't necessarily do that as much, but I do think that it's nice. And I always listen. I listen to podcasts in my car a lot when I'm driving to and from work, or some of them I listen to now with the kids in the car. Like, we listen to a couple kids ones and some informational ones about history and stuff. And I just find that for me, it's relaxing and informative and inspiring, like
hmm,
whatever it is. But it is, I like to get to know the people. They're like my friends. I listen to a lot of Disney podcasts, no big surprise. And I've
no.
actually become friends with a bunch of people because they were fans of a podcast that I listened to, and I met some of the podcasters, and so that was really fun for me. So I don't think that we're really as talented as a lot of other podcasters out there. And like I said, now Martha's come along with her amazing podcast, and there are others. But I do think that we have a unique perspective, and so that's fun for us. And we love if people have things that they want us to sound off on. We love it when people send us ideas and everything. So it's fun to talk about whatever and disagree with each other, and you know everyone. I like to disagree. I think it's a good thing.
Yes, I need that little the angel, and the one that whispers in this ear and whispers in that ear,
Exactly.
and
This
then
year.
somewhere in between I make up my mind and say, what's
Exactly.
the what's the
Because,
medium between
well,
good and the bad?
right. because there's very few things in this world that are completely black and white. I
Right.
mean, the list is very short. Um, so being able to take things and sort of look at them from different viewpoints, it really just does make you a stronger thinker, I think.
Yes,
So yeah. So
it does. It does. So this is off topic. How is Nanny Palooza shaping up? Because I can't wait till
oh,
Friday.
it's very good. Look, I'm working on things right now. Yes, it's going to be amazing. We're going to have 140 people it ended up with, which is great. That's a great
Oh,
crowd.
yay.
Not quite sold out, but close. I could only have room for 150, so that's terrific. And I'm real excited. It's going to be a great group of nannies. We have some from Great Britain coming over, and from Australia, and
Oh.
Oklahoma nanny this year. We've never had an Oklahoma person
Wow.
before, and I know, and Texas and Carolina and California and
California is coming to Philadelphia.
yeah, we had about, I don't know, about 6 or 7 nannies that were able to do both conferences this year.
Oh,
So
wow. I
yeah,
wish I
so
could have. I wish I could
it,
have.
I know. Well, it's a hard thing. It's a lot of money. I mean, it's expensive.
Yes.
Even Nanny
Yes.
Palooza, which is as cheap as I can make it, um, is still a commitment of a lot of hard-earned dollars. So, but I'm really excited. I think the lineup that we have is real solid and a lot of great information, and the crowd looks amazing. And so now I just have to wait for everybody to start arriving on Friday. It'll be great.
Well, I will be there by 1 o'clock. I am so looking forward to it. But a funny story, I I remember looking at the website and I remember seeing the hotel was the airport hotel. Okay, so I go on Expedia.com because I was going to use some of my points, and I'm just look, and I see the airport hotel, so I was like, yes. And then I found out my husband had points for this hotel. I was like, yes, even better. So I got this huge discount, and I got the wrong hotel. It's 2 miles. It's 2 miles away from the right hotel. But I was like, how did I do that? So anyway, I'll be there. Just
Okay.
staying in a different hotel. So
It's all right. The good news for you is 2 miles is not a big deal. Somebody can help you out with that.
well, I
And
have a car, so it's not a big
oh,
deal.
well,
But
then you
but
can drive.
I was just like, okay, yeah. And then I go back and I started looking. I was like, wait a minute, this is a different address. And I looked again. I was like, oh my God, I got the wrong one. So you're in the DoubleTree, and the one I think the one I have is the Marriott. And so I'm just like, really? How in the world did I do that? But anyway, so it's Rachel said, oh, it's an easy place to get around. Okay.
Yeah. You won't
Okay,
have
good.
Marriott's right at the airport. Like it's in the airport itself. So you're right there.
Okay.
It's
I'm
gonna be
glad
okay.
I'm glad I live in a flight line and I
Oh.
hear airplanes all the time, but
Oh, Angela.
no, ain't that is it? Okay, I'm gonna be all right.
It's
I'm
gonna be
gonna be.
okay.
It's gonna be okay. I digress. Anyway, I am looking forward to Nanny Palooza, and I even got my nails done in Nanny Palooza
Woohoo.
colors. I
See?
went and I was trying to decide, and the last time I went, I got this technique called broken glass, and I was like, I'm going to Nanny Palooza. Give me the pink and the green and the blue. But she didn't have the blue. I said, well, give me the pink and the green. So that's what she did.
That's
And
exciting.
so I ended up with pink and green nails for Nanny Palooza. So
Yay.
I'm so excited. So
Well, good.
anyway, back to the podcast. Thank you so
Well,
much for sharing your knowledge, for being that little whisper in our ears. It tells us you can do this. Sure you can. for playing good cop and bad cop with Laura, and encouraging us as nannies, and for saying the things that we want to say but we can't exactly say, for bringing it out into the our out front and to our attention, and being able for us to be able to secretly go yes in the background. So we appreciate that. And can you put your information for the
Sure.
thank you. Oh,
I'll put the
practically
information in the
perfect.
comments.
Thank you.
Practically Perfect Podcast.
Practically perfect park.
The
Anyway,
name is my favorite part. I love the name.
I love the name because it's so Mary Poppins.
It
But
is.
it's
And
trying to
because we're
say it.
all, yeah, trying to say it's hard. Well, and I like that it's practically perfect because, we try to say things that are a little whatever. So we're not exactly towing the party line. So we're practically perfect. So I'll put the
Practically.
stuff in the comments section, and you can always just if you Google us, you'll find us too. So
Yes,
thanks
and
so
they're
much
on
for having.
Facebook too. If you Google them on Facebook, if you Google,
That's
well, if you search for them on Facebook, you can find them too.
right.
Yes.
Thanks, Angela.
But thank you. I'll let you get back to your nanny palooza.
Excellent. Thanks.
Thank you. See you on Friday.
Bye.
Bye. Okay. So now, um, if you haven't done so, please share this broadcast with your friends, with uh, your nanny groups. Please share. Sharing is caring. And let me see. I need to find Miss Martha. Let me see. Where is she? There she is. And it says we're adding her and we're connecting, and she should be. Oh, there she is. I was like, oh, hello, hello. How are you?
Hello.
You can't hear me?
Wait, I can't hear you anymore. I could hear you before when I was watching. Hold on.
I can hear you.
Is that better? Can
Okay,
you
can
talk
you
again?
hear me?
Oh, okay,
Okay,
great.
okay.
I can
All
hear you
right.
now too.
Good. So,
hmm
how are you? Good, good,
I'm
good.
doing
So,
well. How
tell
are
us about
you?
yourself outside of the nanny world.
I am. I live in Chicago. I love Chicago. And I love reading. I heard what you were talking about with the audiobooks, and I'm the same way. I listen to a lot of audiobooks, and then I read some, real books, like paper books too, but um I love reading. I've read 61
Wow.
books this year so far. So, yeah, my goal was 52, and I had to up it to
So, you've
75.
done
So,
over one book a
um,
week.
and I love hanging out with my friends.
Yay. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
They help you de
Yeah.
stress.
I love it. And I love, fiction, nonfiction. They really do. They really do. Now my nanny kids have started, my older nanny kids that I, do date night sits for, who have outgrown me, but now they've started giving me things that they want me to read, which is
Oh,
super
so
sweet.
you've gotten them in the reading, the kick of reading.
Yeah.
So do you do audiobooks with them, or do you just
Yes. They'll be like, sometimes.
they're-
Yeah, sometimes. And then sometimes we do real books. We'll go to the
okay.
library.
I know most of my nanny kids love to read, and I take them to the library. I encourage reading, you know, throughout the day, especially at nap time or at bedtime. We do 2 or 3 books, and it just calms them, and it
hmm
opens their world of imagination. So love it, love it, love it. So tell us about the Chronicles of Narnia.
Me too. Well, we've been going, I say we, it's
I did
just
the
me.
same thing.
I've been doing it for about
Okay.
2 years now. Yeah, I'm like, it's the royal we. Um, yeah, I've been doing it for about 2 years. I had been posting on Instagram and Facebook with the hashtag Chronicles of Nania, and people would laugh at the hashtag, they're like, "Oh, that's really funny." And but then they would also say, I love your ideas. I love hearing about your life as a nanny. And my friends that are becoming moms would say that they would come to my page to get ideas and things like that. And so, and I've always loved podcasts. I mean, always. They've been around for like a decade now, but since they've been around, I have really enjoyed podcasts. And so I had considered starting a blog, but then I was like, I'm not going to sit down and write every week. I know
Hmm.
myself. I know I don't have time. But I can sit down and talk with someone every week. I'm an auditory learner, and that's how I process information the best anyway. So I started the podcast and started mostly with my friends, and now it's grown a lot, and I've gotten some amazing
Yay.
guests. Sue has been on several times. Yeah. And
Yes.
you have been on?
Yeah, I think I was on Mother's Day. Yes.
Yes, you were.
Yes.
So go
Please
listen to
do. Go
that
listen to
episode,
that
guys.
episode. So,
Yeah.
how do you what influences you to for each topic that you use on your weekly podcast?
So several things. One is that if I'm struggling with something in my nanny life, uh, kids are always changing and new obstacles come up. And so then I will search out a guest to help talk about that topic. Um, and so that I can have more tools in my tool bag. So some of it's just personal gain. Um, and then as I've met nannies and things, I've reached out to them because there are some nannies that I'm like, I don't know exactly what we're going to talk about, but I very much want you on the podcast. And so then from there, we'll work together to figure out the topic of what they feel that they want to contribute. And then some have been requests. So if you're listening and you have a request, I'm very, very open to, I love homework and researching. So if you message me, either Martha Tyler or Chronicles of Nania, with a topic that you would like to know about, I will try my best to find a
Well,
guest
this
and do
particular
that topic.
topic was a request from me, or for me. Someone requested that we do
Yes.
blog posts, and I was like, oh yeah, we haven't done that yet. So we're doing blog posts and podcasts because I personally feel that they go hand in hand because even the podcast is just a blog
Mm-hmm.
out loud, if that makes sense. So I think they go
Uh-huh.
hand in hand,
Yes.
and I love getting suggestions, and I love like my brain just starts going, okay, so how can I make this happen, and how can I, and I just started going. I was like, blogs, podcasts. Okay, who do I know? And so, and I remember telling you in my interview with you, I said,
Yeah.
I gotta have you on the show one day. Gotta have you on the show. And guess what? I got you on the show.
I know. I appreciate it so much. Yeah, and like this week's topic is kind of more of a silly one, but I just started with babies and I was really struggling to get the baby from my arms
That's
to
a
the crib.
technique.
And so I was like, I know. Um, because that's the parents want her to fall asleep being cuddled and then transferred to the crib. And so which has not been my experience in the past. And so, learning with new kids. And so I was like, I wonder if there's like a magician or someone like a pickpocket, not like a mean pickpocket, but like someone who has that skill that could come on and talk about it. So I found a magician. And so this week is about magic and kids, but we do spend some time talking about like using distraction to help with your nanny day of like kissing their face as you put them down so they don't notice the other parts of their body, because you can only feel so many things in your brain at the same time. And so
Yes,
using
because
those magic
babies are
techniques
smart.
to
They can feel the downward shift, and then the cold. I wish I could have
they really
an
can.
electric blanket sometimes, because it's like you're putting me on this cold shift, this cold sheet, and I know your body's warm. Why are you putting me on this cold sheet? It's cold over here. And that coldness hits their cheek, and they eyes open. I'm awake. Where are you going? No, I'm not asleep anymore. Come
Yes.
get me. So yeah, you have to have oh, I always do the rock thing, and I rock this way. And as I sway them
Uh-huh.
down into and I make sure that I'm across the room so I can rock all the way across the room. And as I'm rocking and rocking, and I get to the crib, and I lift up over, and I lower it down, and we're still rocking and rocking and rocking, and then I kind of rock, and then when I lay them down, I take this hand out, which is under their little tush, and then I slide this hand out. So
Hmm.
it's like, okay, you still feeling it? And I still not like this. My hands in place. I'm like, okay, all right, there he is, and I walk away. So
Yep.
there are tricks and
Yep.
tips and things
Yep.
that you need a magician. You need to be a magician to do that. So I totally
Yeah.
agree with you. There has to be a magic trick somewhere to get that done. Babies are not easy. They are very smart, and they will not let you put them down. They will not let you put
They're
them
so
down.
smart.
So what are some of the topics that
Yeah, they're so in their
yes.
body.
What are some of the topics that you've had on the Chronicles of Nanya?
Yeah, so I've done a wide variety. I do a lot about um, positive discipline. Like I have one specifically about that, but kind of throughout because that's something that I'm really interested in. And so a lot of the guests that I have on talk about positive discipline or growth mindset. Pascal Brady, who will be at Nanny Palooza in a few days. Um, yeah, she comes on pretty frequently and she's brilliant at talking about positive discipline and growth mindset and confrontation, like healthy confrontation, and things like that. So, but then I also have more silly ones like the magic one, or I have one where I had a friend who's a sommelier come on, and I got stories from different nannies of their worst nanny day, and then he paired the wine that they should drink when they get home at
Wow.
night as a professional sommelier. Um, and so, or some of them were mixed drinks, but he created uh, a drink menu for different bad nanny days. Um, so yeah, so and then I have a lot to do with theater techniques because I was an actress for years, and so a lot of that theater training comes in with kids
Oh,
and
that you
storytelling
got
and things like
the
that.
magic
So
spell right there. If you were an actor, you could, because most of taking care of kids is an acting job. It's like you got to put on that smile, and you got to have a song in
yeah,
your pocket, and Ding. Yes. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you need to share your secrets about, how you use the theater to entertain the kids, and I know that your kids probably have the most wildest imaginations ever and come up with some crazy things, and you're like,
They
yeah, that can
do.
work.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, let's do it. I mean, I'm working on an episode of humor and nannying, or almost like improv techniques because I'm in Chicago, the city of improv, and so using humor with kids because sometimes I think we forget and we get so serious and we get bogged down in the best practices, which we absolutely should know the best practices and think about them and practice in a way that is good for the kids and ourselves and the families. But I also think that there's a lot of room for lightheartedness and humor uh, and moments of really brightness where you're connecting through laughter. And so I want to talk about that specifically coming up here in a
Good,
little while.
good, good.
So
Now,
look out for that
um,
episode.
I think that was all my questions. Yes, that was all my questions. I had to read down. I was like, okay, this is the list. I have them listed as under
Yeah.
each guest. I'm like, okay, so what do I know to ask? So I had to check my list. But can you leave your information down at the bottom in the comments, so we can subscribe and listen
I
to
sure
the
will.
Chronicles of Nanya? Am I saying that right? Okay.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, you are. And I will say, Sue, as she signed off, was like, you can Google us. And I will say, I love my pun of a name, but Google will try to correct you and be like, did you mean Chronicles of Narnia? And so just know that you have to touch a little extra because
Yes,
I
it
screwed
will,
my
because it
pun.
corrected me, and I was like, "No, that's not what I want." And your
Mm-hmm.
phone does
Not what I
autocorrect
meant.
too, because it has the Chronicles of
Mm-hmm.
Narnia in there because it's a popular name, and then when you put the in Narnia, just doesn't make sense.
Right.
What are you trying to say? So yeah, so it
No.
does that to you. Yes, it will.
Yep. So, and just to say it out loud, Nanya is Nanya. But I will
Thank
put
you,
all the
thank you, thank you.
information
I
down in the
appreciate you
comments as
coming
well.
and being our guest. And excuse me,
Thank you for
I'm
having
trying not to
me.
lose my voice. It's allergy season, and I am doing it's the
I
end of October,
know.
and I'm doing so
Yeah.
great. Doing so great. So I'm like yes, hang in there. So but yes, thank you so much for coming and for sharing your podcast with us and some of the ideas. And all of you all who are watching and who are watching the rebroadcast, please, please, please support our fellow nannies and listen. I want to say watch, listen to their podcasts, read the blogs, and make comments. There are things, helpful things. And like I said, I
Yeah.
have several podcasts that I listen to for different things in my life, whether it's business or spiritual or just funny stuff, and just and especially nanny things, and all about babies. Yes, because that's what I do, and you
Yes.
can't improve you. There's so much in your podcast that helps to us to take care of our kids. Just little ideas of, do this or
Mhm.
try that, like the magician. And I love the fact that you had someone, let's have a mixed drink. This is the drink that you need after work. That's the drink that you need. If you had this kind of day, have that. Well, what about us that don't drink? what are we gonna have? Orange
Mhm.
orange juice and sparkling
Yeah,
sparkling
I
cider.
I'll make this is the book you
Yes,
should read when you
yes,
get home.
audiobooks.
For for yeah, be like, if you need to escape in this way, read this book.
Oh yes,
I would
that's
love
a
to
good
do that. That's a
idea.
great
I
idea.
love I love reading books, and I have about 7 or 8 credits that I need to use because I listen to books from the library too, which I get for free. And
Ooh,
I am also a member of
okay.
Audible, which is
Yep.
under Amazon. So I listen there too.
Me
And then
too.
they have these packages, these mystery packages and the romance packages. So you pay a certain amount a month and you can listen to anyone you want to, and you just download it, listen to it, and return it.
I don't think I knew about
Yes.
that.
You
Thank
didn't know
you.
about that? I
That's
have
a
the
good tip.
romance package, and I have the I think they
Mm-mm.
have the mystery package, and I think it's like $6 a month, and you can listen. It's like you can listen to a book a day. If it's like 7 hours, I like when I get on the road, I will start it, and if I'm driving for 12 hours, I may get the chance to listen to
Yeah.
two different books, and it just kind of takes your mind off of traffic, and it kind of calms you in traffic because you got this soothing, calming voice, and I like the ones with more than one character, more than one narrator, and some of them have like two or three people narrating,
Yes.
and so it makes it more interesting, and it makes, instead of just listening to the radio or your favorite music, listen to a story. I listen to business books along the way. If I'm heading and I need
Hmm.
a business plan and I need to have something
Hmm.
on my tongue when I get to where I'm going, okay, I need to listen. I fast forward. Okay, now what did he say there? And I have my answer by the time I get to where I'm going. So it is so important to, reading is fundamental. It's fun. It's interesting, and
Yeah,
it's a good way to
it is.
escape. Just saying.
It is. It is. One more. Can I
Sure.
put out a quick call for if anyone is watching this, and they have a cute, fun story or quote, like a kid say the darndest things type of story. I have one at the end of every episode, and I'm working with babies right now, so I'm running out. So if you email in a cute, fun story, I'll put it
Yeah.
at the end of the episode
The ones where you lift the
because I
legs
need
up and the
them.
poop comes flying out. Yeah, those.
Yep.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it. Or you stick your
Yep.
hand in to
Yep.
see, oh, is he pooping? And it's all over the tip of your finger and it coming out. Yeah, those are the stories. Yes. Yeah. Especially,
And you're like,
yes. And when you have a child that's sick
yep.
and you use a little aspirator, you're trying to go like this and they kick it and it goes into your mouth. Or, yeah. Yeah. I have plenty of those. I can, I can eBay
Yep.
your book,
Yep.
but I'll give other people a chance. I'll give everyone
Well,
else a
please do
chance.
send
So.
in some. Yeah. But yeah, especially if you work with older kids, because right now that's what I'm looking for is those moments where a kid says something and you're just like, oh my gosh, like that's so funny. And you can't necessarily laugh in the moment
Right.
because the kid didn't mean it
They were
that
so
way.
serious when they
Um,
told you, and you're
those
like,
are
oh my
those are
God.
yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yep. Come tell me and
Yes.
then
Come
we'll
laugh with
we'll
me.
laugh together.
Or come laugh with her.
Yeah, come laugh with me.
So
Yeah.
put your information
Yep.
down at the bottom, and everyone who's watching, please subscribe and listen, because Chronicles of Narnia is 2 thumbs up. Thank you. You're
Thank
welcome. You're
you.
welcome.
Thank
You're
you for
welcome.
having me.
Thank you for joining us. Oh, Emily says she works with older kids, so
All right.
she'll. I'm sure she has plenty of story. Martha.
Yeah. Oh, there
I
you are.
just froze. I don't know if I
Thank
don't know
you.
if you saw me or not. Anyway,
Yes.
but now you're frozen on my screen. I don't know if everybody else can see you, but you're frozen on my screen. Anyway, I
Oh,
guess that
great.
means it's time to exit the building. Okay. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Bye. Thanks for having me.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us this evening on this episode of Ask the Nanny. I hope that these podcasters, I guess that's what you call them, and bloggers were helpful. If you have some podcasts or blogs that you listen to regularly, please, please, please leave the information in the comments so that we can all share with each other, because knowledge is power. And that's what we're all about, sharing the knowledge. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we will see you all next Monday right here, same time, same place. And those of you who are going to Nanny Palooza, I'm looking forward to seeing you there. I'll see you all guys on Friday. Anyway, have a good evening. Talk to you soon.